We're going to wrap up this chapter with a little demonstration program. I'm going to combine the read mail and the send mail programs into one mail program. Now it's going to look a little retro because I'm going to do it all from the command prompt. But if you needed a nice little mail utility, this will work just fine, maybe with some modifications. So the first thing I want to do is open up a couple of files, Notepad, sendmail.py, and we're going to copy all that code, Control C, then we can close it. And now we're going to begin our new program, which we're going to call mail.py. Let me get it down in there a little bit better. There we go. I'll paste that in, minimize it. Open up the read mail program. First, copy and paste in the import. Then we'll come down here, go back to read mail. Control C, we can close this program now. And we actually want to put, we're going to put read above send, so we're going to add that in right here. Now, let's tighten up these blank lines to make our program a little more efficient. Okay, so now we have both programs. Let's combine these two imports like so. And we're also going to need the OS library, so we'll import that in. We can delete that line. Now, the next step is we want to make these functions. So I'm going to write def read right here. And actually, we need some open and close parentheses to indicate their functions. And then let's do some indentation. Let's do the same thing for send. We'll call this def send. Then let's do some indentation. One thing we want to do to read is clear the screen before the function starts. So we're going to do that there. Everything else stays the same. And then what we want to do is also give the user the option to clear the screen at the end after the mail has been displayed. So we do that with raw input. Send mail is a little bit different than what we saw originally because here I'm asking for input from the user for their email address, for the receiver's email address, for the message, and all these things. One thing we are going to also add is the subject. So right here, and actually we probably want to put that in before the message. So let's move up right here, create a variable subject, type raw input, enter the subject. It's just bad form not to have a subject. Now we can take that line and turn it into that. So whereas read is exactly the same as it was before, send is a little bit different, only in that we're getting the input from the user. Other than that, though, this send program is exactly like send mail that we saw earlier in the chapter. And it's ready to go as is, except we also want to let the user clear the screen after they've entered all this data. So we're going to say choice is equal to raw input. First, we want to let them know the email was sent, and then press X to clear the screen. And then perform a system clear screen, like so. Very good. Now, the code to combine these. We're going to write a very, very simple menu system. So what I want to do is I want a loop that runs forever. So we're going to say while one, which also means while true. First, clear the screen. Then, print a little header to let the user know that we're in the email program. Print a blank line. Print the first choice, which would be read mail or read email. Second choice would be send email. Third choice will be exit. Another blank line. Then we give them a choice. So enter a choice. Then we'll have an if statement that says if choice equals 1, call the read function. Else if choice is equal to 2, call the send function, else if choice is equal to 3, break. And break breaks out of the while loop and will cause the program to stop. So at this point, I believe we have everything we need. Hopefully there's not any typos, but we're going to find out really soon. So let's save the program. Back to our command prompt, clear the screen, although it's going to clear anyway. And let's run mail.py. So let's send an email. So I'll put in my email address, put in my email address again. I'm going to say sending an email from Python. My username is the first part of my email address, my password, and it says email sent. Press X to clear the screen. So now we can read our mail, so we'll select 1. So far, no mail has been sent. We'll read it again. And it's probably going to take a few minutes, so we probably will not see it. We'll try a couple more times. Oh, and I might have seen it before. I might have missed that. Sending an email from Python. So it's not a fancy GUI-based program, but it does get the job done. And again, let's look at the code. The code for mail.py is mostly the same code from read mail and send mail earlier in the chapter. I just modified send mail so that we could interactively enter the data for the mail to be sent. And then we have a simple little looping character-based menu system to run the program. So that's it, and that wraps up this chapter on internet services using Python.